Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is Fishman Log number 162, and it is in response to a request I got a few weeks back now, which was, what is my regular maintenance on my aquariums? So what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to show the whole fish room because I don't do the whole fish room in one day. This is going to be the maintenance on these 6 aquariums on the top rack here, and the entire time it took to do all the maintenance on them, including pruning all the plants and trying to get rid of all my duckweed, was about 18 minutes. Now, I've cut some of that out because, well, if on the right-hand side here, basically all you see is my back and an arm stuck in an aquarium. So I removed most of that footage, but it'll definitely give you an idea of what I do. So water change is really easy. All I do is I turn these elbows down. As you can see, the one on the far right is already basically drained down to where it needs to be. By the time I'm done here, all I do is walk back to the other side of the rack, and then I start turning them back up. The only thing I need to be careful about, and when I'm doing this, is, well, these are screw mounted in, so whenever there is, well, the angle that I'm turning it is counterclockwise, as in this case here, I give it a bit of a wiggle, make sure that I'm not turning the actual joint itself, pop it up, and put it back into place. The other one, which is next, is the opposite direction, so all I do is just turn it up. And that's the only thing I need to be careful about, because otherwise I'll break the silicone seal that's in the pipe there. Not a big deal, but I'd have to drain the tank down below where the fitting is, remove the old silicone, put new one on, and I'd just rather not do that. That is all I need to do to do the water change, except at the very end where I fill the tanks up, which takes literally about another 2 minutes. And if I'm not doing any pruning, that is it. I would, on average, I got to think about this now because I've been really busy lately, so the average has changed. My normal routine is to do 2 water changes a month. So I would do this every 2 weeks on this side, and then the exact same thing on the other side next week, and alternate. But been a little bit busy, so it has been about 3 weeks since I've done this, and it's mostly the plants that's the problem. As you can see, I'm pulling a whole pile of hornwort, and that tub I showed you at the beginning is where I dump all that. It's on that mobile desk that I use on this side of the fish room to put things together and all that sort of stuff. And what I'll do is I'll pull all the hornwort out here, make sure that there's no duckweed left in there, and I'll just scoop that out. And then, because I've already done the water change, in other words, lowered the water, I'll just pour this into a net when necessary. But this particular tank was pretty good. It didn't really have much in the way of anything, so I didn't have to do that. And then all I need to do is decide, as I pull the hornwort back, decide if it needs to be pruned, and then just stick it back in the aquarium. This one here is not, it's not overplanted. It's not bad. It's getting to the point where it is getting a little bit excessive. So what I'm going to do is prune a couple of them, and that's about all I'm going to do here. So I'll just trim off the older pieces and just put in the tips, the stuff that's still growing really quite well. I don't lose a lot of needles like a lot of people do. It is quite a hardy and fast-growing plant, which is what I like. It is good for sucking out the extra nutrients, and I like it a lot. And also, of course, in the particular case of guppies, it's a great place for a little fry to hide. So that's all there is for one aquarium. I'm just going to stick that back in there. I throw some in the back like this because, it should be spread out as much as possible. So I'm going to end up removing a lot of the footage for this tank, mostly because this is the view you're going to get. But what I want to do here is I've decided, in this particular aquarium, I'm going to move the pearl weed out. So I'm just going to pull it all out. I'm just going to take it all out, and you're going to see there's bits of hornwort in there as well. The hornwort and the pearl weed were competing fiercely. I thought originally that the hornwort was going to win and the pearl weed would just gradually fade out, but it's been an ongoing war. And have a look at this hornwort. This hornwort is basically exactly the same as all the others, gets the same amount of light, nutrient, and all the other stuff, but it's scraggly and it's just not thriving. So I'm gonna, like I said, I threw that all out. I mean, I get I throw tons of plants a month anyway, so it's no big deal. And then I fished out a little bit of duckweed and a few scraggly bits of pearlweed and needles, and that's it. Again, I cut out about maybe 2 to 3 minutes worth of footage there. Nothing major, and that is all the plants that came out of there, and they're all going to get thrown out. Again, I have so much of this stuff it doesn't make any difference. This aquarium is getting really, really overgrown with hornwort. I should have done this last week, but again, always the same excuse. I was just really busy. I didn't have the time. And I know it doesn't take long, but it does take time, and there's a great many other things that I need to be doing. So I pulled all the hornwort out, and one of the things I'm going to do here is, because this aquarium had a little bit more in the way of duckweed than the others, because again I had missed it for about 3 weeks, and the stuff grows really well. I am going to take the hornwort and rinse it in an aquarium behind me. One of the 7-footers is full of African cichlids, and for them it is just a nice little snack. They'll eat all the they'll eat all of the duckweed and get a little bit of extra vegetable matter in their diet. If you know anything about Mbuna, they're definitely they eat mostly algae and various crustaceans and whatnot are in the algae, so this is really good for their diet, which is one of the reasons why I haven't completely and totally gotten rid of duckweed in my fish room. I like to use it as an excuse, I guess, because, well, I mean, there are a number of fish that really like it, and the African cichlids are one of them. Not the Hat Borlei, they don't eat it, but all the others do. So there again, you saw I cut a bit out. I mean, it's just fishing out duckweed. It's not that exciting for sure. And I am going to prune some of this and make sure I spread this one out, because this one here had way too much hornwort in it. It was just overcrowding the whole tank. So that tank, I think it had, well, originally just one big sprig. I broke that up, and then I divided some into the second tank that you see there, and you can see that's beginning to overgrow quite a bit. And what I'm going to do now today is I'm going to put a good sized chunk in this tank here. It is, well, now it doesn't have any pearlweed except what's up in the high humidity planter. And I haven't really noticed that particular location for plants in general results in any kind of competition, so I have never really had a problem with it. So I'm going to see how that sprig does over time. I really do want to get rid of that, well, the one tool build for a box filter. I want to put a proper one in there. I'm going to pull out the undergarl filter, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the tank, but I have another design in mind for a box filter that goes to a planter that doesn't involve attaching it to the aquarium, and it's something I've been toying with, I guess I should say, over the last little while. And I suspect that's going to be the tank that's going to go on. And we'll see how that goes. So what I'm doing here now, one thing nice about Sabwassertang and well, Java moss, that sort of clumpy plant on the bottom, it is a great place for mulm to accumulate, and I'm just sucking a bit of it out. There wasn't really that much in there, but it was enough that it was time to get rid of a bit of it. And besides, I was showing you as much of my routine as possible. So just a few more squirts of that, and then there's one other noticeable difference between this tank, which is an undergarl filter going to a high humidity planter, and the next tank over, which is a box filter going to a high humidity planter. And not just one of the experimental ones. This is one of the ones that I really like, the style that I've settled upon for most of it. And you can see that I didn't have to do anything for that. There was no mulm underneath the Sabwassertang and Java moss. There's a little bit in here. This tank's a little bit more balanced than the 2 tanks over. It's not a big deal. It's just something I like to keep an eye on as the years go by. Certain designs I find are more maintenance friendly, and I like to pass that stuff on to you. So there you go. That is everything. All I need to do now is top up the aquariums. And the funny thing about that is, I think it was last week, you'll notice there's going to be a bit of a spray of water coming out of the nozzle here. I cracked the plastic on the valve. It's not a big deal. It's just old, and plastic is what it is, and it got brittle, and I ended up splitting it. So as I turn this off, you're gonna see it spray some water. I need to obviously replace that, because what it ends up being, I have a basement. It's unfinished, so it's not a big deal, but water gets on the floor, and of course raises the humidity, and I'm already running a dehumidifier, so I don't really want to, give it too much extra work to do. So I have to take care of that. So yeah, every time I turn that off, you see my left arm is wet. It just sprays me every time I do that. And one of the things I was concerned about was this may pop out entirely, and of course then it'll just spray water everywhere. And yeah, I don't want to have that happen. So I'm gonna build a new one. It's really straightforward. A couple of elbows, a new valve, a few pieces of pipe, and some PVC cement, and that's the end of it. So there you go. This is my routine. 6 aquariums cleaned in just over 15-18 minutes, and they're basically all that needs to be done on them for another 2 weeks, which is, I think, a reasonable amount of time to spend on maintenance. I'm not one of these people who thinks it should be gotten down to 0. I think maintenance is an important thing, and of course I've been doing it forever. Business-wise and in my own fish room, and I've tried every other style. I do plan on going through some low to zero maintenance stuff for you guys, and also low to zero tech setups. So that's all coming. Just leave some comments, leave ideas for what you'd like to see in videos. I could do a video like this for the other side, which needs a different method because it doesn't have these nice low drill holes. Like I said, leave comments, let me know what you think, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.